According to Daniel's devastated friends and family, they testified that he identified as heterosexual. Never to their knowledge did he identify as gay. Although it's no one's business, unfortunately this case involves Daniel's sexuality, and he's not even here to say whether or not he is a part of the community. Like, this is just all going off of word of mouth from the murderer.
Yeah. if you're gonna use the gay panic defense, and the person is not even there to be like, hey, I'm not even gay. Like, it shouldn't even be allowed.
Shouldn't even be allowed.
But hear me out. Like, he might not even be gay, you know? Like, you're fucking up a person for no you know?
Exactly, and you're literally going based off of you saying that you're not gay because of your own insecurities.
Yeah.
Like, you're not even going based off of Daniel's sexuality.
So
you're
even this defense,
off of your own insecurities.
Yeah, even this defense falls through. Even if, like, let's say it was, like, not looking at the fact that it's just a fucked up defense. It can't even hold up because there's not even, like, you can't even prove that he was gay.
Exactly.
So it doesn't make, so even in the like, completely, I'm just ignoring the fact that it's so wrong. But even if I were to see it from that angle, it's like, it's already a fucked up defense. Like, it doesn't work.
Yeah,
it's trash.
Like, the two just don't connect. They don't.
They just don't.
So, as stated in the AAS, prosecutors said that because Spencer did not touch Miller or state any intention to hurt him, the notion that he used deadly force or self-defense was ludicrous, which it totally is. Prosecutor Matthew Foy said that the facts that Spencer was stabbed in the back and that Miller showed no sign of harm on his body the day of the slaying proved that it was not self-defense. It literally proved it! The defendant doesn't have so much of as a scratch on him, Foy said, comparing photos of the crime scene with a photo of Miller's hands that same day. This defendant murdered Daniel Spencer. Foy said that the threat of sexual assault as a basis for self-defense does not make sense because Miller had never spoken about a specific sexual advance. Even an unwanted kiss does not qualify as a sexual assault, Foy said. It's pretty absurd. It can't even possibly be immediately necessary to use deadly force if no one is attempting to use force against you. As we know, the decision isn't up to the prosecution, but it is up to the jury. So, after a 10-hour deliberation, the jury finally reaches a verdict. Which, by the way, can we please talk about how it took them 10 hours to come to a decision? Like, what is there to not see here? How is... I just don't get how you could still be on James's side after hearing all of the evidence. I don't get why it took a deliberation so fucking long. So, they find James Miller innocent and not guilty of manslaughter or murder. He is convicted of criminally negligent homicide, which is a significantly less serious charge than the other two. Dylan, please tell me, what do you think his sentence was? Just take a lucky guess.
5 years.
It was 6 months in a county jail and 10 years probation.
You're fucking lying.
Are you fucking kidding me? Because the victim was allegedly gay and allegedly made a move on James. You're fucking kidding me. Like, literally, what the fuck? What the fuck?
Okay. So, I just want to go back to the sentence, like, that you said when you mentioned the fact that even an unwanted kiss does not qualify as sexual assault. It doesn't.
It doesn't.
It doesn't. Like, somebody kisses you, you don't really want it, you're just like, oh, sorry, dude, don't really, not into it, you know? Like, It could have ended there.
Yeah, so in a scenario that someone makes an advance and they're not forcing it on you, but it's just, like, literally, like, leaning forward, like...
Yeah.
That's not justifiable homicide.
No.
It's not.
It's not. I mean, if there's no aggression, no force, nothing, like, it's just like maybe you just got the wrong idea, you know? I mean, it's like case by case basis, but nothing justifies murder like that.
Nothing justifies murder
especially
like that.
like especially in this scenario, like, it just doesn't make sense. And the fact that 6 months in a county jail? Like, are you joking?
And then can we go back to how much time that James awaited a trial? 3 fucking years almost? Just to come to that conclusion? To find him innocent and not guilty?
Gosh. Like, literally people are sitting in jail for longer for, like... marijuana. Like a literal marijuana. Like a joint. People are still in jail for. And that's just... And this is like killing a human. Like, you killed another person.
Someone's whole life.
Yeah, and... No, like, away. People get, like, way longer sentences for dumb shit than... And they didn't kill anyone.
Yeah.
Okay, that's wild. I feel like I keep saying that's wild, but I mean, it's just like so insane that it would even be a thing. I just don't understand.
Well, I really wish that it ended there, but unfortunately it doesn't.
Lay it on me.
On August 17th, 2013, Islan Nettles was 21 in Harlem, New York. On her way walking home with her friend, she and her friend came across a group of guys near West 148th Street. James Dixon approaches Islan, asks her for her name, and begins flirting with her. And everything is going fine up until one of his friends starts mocking him for flirting with someone who is trans. Enraged by his friends, James went into a blind fury, causing him to spew homophobic slurs, and then he proceeds to push her. She pushes back, defending herself, then punches Islan in the face. Then, punching her a second time, knocking her to the ground where she lied on the sidewalk unconscious, putting her into a coma.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And unfortunately, she never regained consciousness and died on August 22nd, 2013. While she was in her coma, James decided to turn himself into the police on August 20th, 2013. Oddly enough, the police don't believe him. Which, I'm gonna pause right there, but it's like, someone is literally coming to you to turn your... Like, do you think that someone is just coming to turn themselves in for fun? Like, what? Like, they don't believe him?
Okay.
Instead, they arrest and charge the suspect, Paris Wilson, who was also there that night with a misdemeanor assault and harassment. Police treated her murder as a possible hate crime, but didn't even care to take it seriously. Which, by the way, is far too common when it comes to trans women of color. What is even worse is that detectives didn't even make an effort to visit the Harlem hospital where she was being treated. In 2015, police finally decide to arrest and indict James, literally 2 years after her murder. And I think that goes to say...
And he tried to turn himself in.
He tried to turn himself in sooner. And if we look at the similarities between this case and the last one, why does it take so fucking long for them to even, like, either A, get arrested, or B, get a trial? Like, I feel like that speaks a lot of volume on where the police's quote-unquote priorities are.
Well, I mean, if they... Oh my god. They didn't even get a... Okay, but they didn't get a trial. They got this fucking 6 months of fucking jail time. That's it. In the last one. Yeah. So, it's just disgusting.
So they finally decide to arrest him 2 years after her murder with first and second degree manslaughter and first degree assault. He pleads not guilty and his team opts for the panic defense, and the judge allows it. And I feel like in cases specific to, like, the LGBTQ plus community where someone is attacked, lawyers keep this in their back pocket because it is so fucking easy. It's kind of just like you pull out a card like, yep, okay, we're just going to use a gay panic defense. Here it is. Like, it's too fucking easy. Not only does he allow it, but he also says that James's video confession is admissible in court.
Why? Why? Wait, why?
Yeah. In the video, James's transphobia is obvious, and he's referring to Islan in derogatory terms and said that he went into a blackout rage after finding out she was trans, following with, "I didn't want my manhood to be threatened." He denied being transphobic and homophobic and said, "I don't care what they do, I just didn't want to be fooled." Which, if you ask me, this is totally dismissible, considering the assault in the first place. Like, this sounds like nothing but a man suffering with toxic and fragile masculinity. So, James takes a plea deal after the tapes are ruled admissible and pleads guilty to first-degree manslaughter. The DA initially recommends 17 years after murdering Islan, but due to the panic defense, he only gets 12, which is a third of his original sentence. Islan's family and friends were absolutely devastated. Dolores Nettle said that her daughter was beat so bad that she had to have brain surgery as soon as she went in. How do you sleep at night? How do you rest? The anguished mom asked. I can't rest. I hope you die, she went on. I hope you rot. The victim's sister, Sky Nettles, was so upset that she could barely speak. For him to only get 12 years? That's not right, said the 19-year-old sibling. He should have thought about what he did before all this got too serious. A statement by the victim's father, Anthony Moudon, read by prosecutor Nicholas Rohr, said, 12 years is nowhere near the appropriate sentence for the man that didn't care that she was already unconscious when she hit the ground, and mercilessly continued to pummel her as she lay there unconscious and defenseless. Sky Nettles, speaking in front of friends and family, and trans activists who packed the courtroom, said the death of her sister was traumatizing to her and her younger siblings. She described the terrifying sight of her disfigured sister in a hospital bed. My sister couldn't even speak. She didn't even look like herself, the tearful young woman said. She looked like a monster. One of the shittiest parts about this is that once James is out, he still has the opportunity to live his life, go home to his family, and be treated as if he never had any wrongdoings. As for Islan, she was grossly stripped of her life ahead of her. Before her murder, she was a vibrant and outgoing woman who was also an assistant of a local designer in Harlem. She was even in the midst of starting her own fashion line. But now, due to somehow allowed legal defenses of the state and some guy's ignorant views towards trans women, she doesn't get to live out her life nor her dreams. Yeah, so it's just unfair. It's just really fucking unfair, and I just don't understand how there is no justice at all. Like, it's almost like they don't even see it as a life being taken.
Yeah. Yeah, it's heavy. Like, there has to be a way, to make it illegal to use that defense.
There just has to be. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe that this is still legal in 48 states. So, when I was doing my research, I tried to look for cases where a woman had harmed another woman and used the panic defense in court to help her case. But the longer and longer that I searched, I couldn't find anything. Then I came across our good friend Wikipedia, and they had made a point that I felt was obvious, but I didn't consider. The page says, broadly the defenses may be called the gay and trans panic defense or the LGBTQ plus panic defense. They are typically used by heterosexual cisgender men against gay men and trans women. And my partner Zach made a good point, which was that women wouldn't typically act violently towards another woman if they had suspicions about her sexuality, or even if they elicited some type of sexual persuasion. Of course, I'm not just diminishing that isn't possible, but it's true. Like, I just think that women have a significantly more amount of common sense in this scenario. Like,
no, and women statistically are like less violent. Like, it's always like, especially white cis men that are out here committing these like super violent, heinous acts. So I don't know why they do it. Like, I don't think I'll ever understand. But at the same time, it's like I'm not surprised to hear that you had a hard time finding a woman on a woman like act like that used the gay panic defense.
Yeah, and I'm actually really glad that you brought that up, because neither of these men were white. They were both black men. So later, I thought about how the murderers in these crimes were men of color. And Dylan, you can stop me like if I'm not making sense or if this isn't delivering with my intent, but how often do we actually see the law give black men a chance, even with crimes that aren't crimes at all? So it furthered my thought, and I shared it with Zach, and they said, it seems that the law only works in favor of black men when they commit the same heinous crimes as white men. even worse, towards the LGBTQ plus community.
Yeah.
So it's truly mind